Google Fonts are web-based fonts. What that means is that instead of the font being installed on your computer, it is actually a web-based font that when the website loads, the font also gets pulled from its link and embedded into the website, just like your files from the web server are being brought to the computer. So it's doing both things at the same time. I think this is important because on your computer, you have certain fonts that are available to you based off of what's installed on your computer. Fonts are only available when they're installed, which means that if you are using the Brush Script MT font on your website and you want somebody else to come visit your website, if they don't have the Brush Script MT font installed on their computer, it won't show up because it's an installed font. So the computer goes to look for that font, for the font family, and if it can't find it, it'll replace it with whatever it can. And this is where a font family in CSS becomes a very big deal, where you're listing multiple fonts in the family to be used. So when you make a font family attribute or declaration here, that property then has a value equal to multiple fonts. So first it will look for the font called Times New Roman. If it can't find the font Times New Roman installed on the computer, it'll look for a font called Times. And if it can't find that, it'll just default to a serif font with tails. This font family will try and find Arial first, then Helvetica, and if it can't find anything, it'll just default to any sans serif font on the computer. This is really important to list multiple so that the computer knows where to go and what to use if it can't find the font that it's looking for. And this is actually really common because, for instance, on my computer, I have Papyrus installed. So if I go down to the P's here, I can find Papyrus in my list. If you're using a Chromebook, there is no Papyrus font installed on a Chromebook. So if I use Papyrus on my computer and on my website, and then I put it on the web on a web server and somebody goes to my website, they won't see the same font. So this can pose a really big issue, especially when you want your website to look very consistent across any form of a device, whether it's a phone, a Chromebook, a Mac, a PC, doesn't matter. You want it to look the same. And that's where web-based fonts come into play, because web-based fonts are on the web. And if somebody's going to your website, they're also connected to the web. So it can pull both at the same time and then utilize them, making it consistent on literally any device that looks at it. And web-based fonts are a really great new feature that came out about 2 to 3 years ago that have really taken off because they make everything consistent across the board for anyone who's looking at your site.